everyone. We're gonna stretch out today. Let's start. We're gonna come to the floor. Starting on hands and knees, we're gonna do cat and cow. So arching that back, pointing that tailbone up, bringing the chest up, in a gaze forward. I don't like looking up to the sky. That doesn't feel great on my neck, so I'm just gonna have a gaze forward. And then we're gonna take it to a rounded back, pointing that tailbone down, tucking the tailbone in, pushing that floor away with the hands, rounding the back. So cat and cow here, you go at your own pace. We want to inhale, exhale. I'm not going to be super specific today about when the breathing happens or when the movement happens necessarily. I want you to think about going at your own pace. I want you to breathe. I'm not going to be specific. I'm not going to tell you when to do it. Do what feels good. Do what feels right. All right, team. Next up, we're going to move into a down dog, downward facing dog. So hands plant on the floor, pop into a plank, and then push the hips to the ceiling. Push the chest to the knees. My knees are bent. I think a common misconception of down dog is that legs are straight. Bend your knees as much as you want. And you're gonna feel, if you play around with how bent your knees are, you're gonna feel the stretch in different places. So I encourage you to do that. So pushing the hips up to the ceiling, pushing the chest to the knees. We don't have to be perfect here, right? My form probably isn't perfect. I'll say, it's not perfect. But I do feel a stretch in the back of the legs, which is what I want. So not trying to do any sort of perfect yoga move here. Just getting a good stretch in. I feel a stretch in my calves. I let my heels float to the floor. Try not to fight it. Let's take a rest. I think that's something to remember, is to not fight the stretch, but kind of ease into the stretch, okay? Next up, we're gonna do pigeon. So pigeon is bringing one knee forward. So if you see, I'm bringing my knee towards this wrist, knee forward, and then the other leg extends back. And I don't sit down on that hip, okay? I find a sit in the middle here, so I'm not leaning to either hip. And I'm stretching my bent legs hip. So you can either be tall here, or you can come down to elbows, or you can come even lower. Be mindful of how this feels for you. Maybe you're feeling a really strong stretch being elevated here. Or maybe it takes you a little bit more of lowering to feel the stretch more. So this is a stretch for you and your body. So where do you feel the stretch? We're inhaling, exhaling. I'm feeling that stretch in my booty on my left side. My left leg is bent, so I feel the booty on that side. Getting that good stretch. And as you go here through this minute, think about, how can you soften even more? How can you soften? Maybe go a little bit lower as we get to the end of the time. Maybe that's happening for you today. Maybe that's not happening for you today. All right, team, let's switch sides. So same thing on the other side. I'm going to come back into a plank. You get into your position however it makes sense for your body. So that knee comes up. Find the center, and we'll come on down into position. I'm feeling now the stretch here in the right side of my body. I feel my hip. I feel a little bit of inner thigh here as well. And I'm breathing and thinking about how I can give in to the stretch. It's so easy because it is an intense feeling sometimes, so it's easy to kind of fight against it. How can I breathe myself into the stretch? and relax. Maybe I soften a little bit more. Maybe I can go a little bit deeper. Maybe not. Maybe not. Let's hold for 10 more seconds here. All right, we're gonna get into a runner's lunge next. So again, you're doing this however that feels right for your body. I'm gonna come back into a plank and I'm gonna do a big step forward with my left foot. So big step here. I'm gonna drop my back knee because that is what feels best for me in this stretch. And I'm gonna hug this knee into my body. So I'm not letting it go wide. I'm hugging it in. And I'm feeling a good stretch here on my hip flexors. Now, when we're talking about relaxing into it, this one is one that I feel like fighting, but try and relax into it, feeling a good stretch here. Now, I'm gonna stay right here on my hands. You can drop down to your elbows if you want. I mean, when I say that, that to me feels like, whoa, that floor looks far away. So that's not possible for me right now, today. Tomorrow, trying to relax into this hip flexor stretch. I think what's good to remember too, and I'm doing the best I can here, is to keep my back flat and to not kind of round out. So if I round out, right, I can go a little bit closer to the floor, but let's keep that good posture. And breathe. 3, 2, and 1. All right, team, we're gonna come out of that and we're gonna switch legs. Switch legs, oof, big step forward, and then shift the hips forward. This isn't as intense on this side for me, thank goodness. First side was intense. I wanna be sure that I have stepped far enough forward with this foot so that this is the shape I'm making and not this. So we want that toe, that foot far in front of our knee. This is the shape here with a shift forward of the hips. And again, breathing, seeing where you can soften. I'm sending all my softening vibes to that left hip flexor. It's feeling tight. It's hard to relax. You will find as we go along, as we do this, something on each side of our body, that one side of your body is tighter than the other, more flexible. That's the case for everybody. All right, team, let's go ahead and unfold out of this. Ooh-wee. Okay, so next we're gonna do a similar movement, but this time I'm gonna call it a narrow runner's lunge, where we come onto knees here, and we bring this knee here, and then watch the hips here. We're gonna tuck the hips under and squeeze the booty. Now I'm feeling another intense stretch, hip flexors on this side. So that's what I want. So what's important here is that you're not letting go of that tuck of the booty and the squeezing of the buns. So here's what it looks like when I first get into position, relaxed booty, and then I tuck the booty and I squeeze the buns. And that lights up this area. As a stretch here, I'm feeling this from hip flexor down into my quads. You might find you don't have great balance in this position. I'm kind of teetering. So holding a wall, no big deal. Because we want to focus on the stretch. We don't want to focus necessarily on the balancing part here. All right, let's release from that and we'll do the other side. So just a narrow step forward here and then watch the booty. It tucks and I squeeze my booty. That's important. Active stretching here. Tuck the booty, squeeze the booty. I'll show you again. That's relaxed. That's tuck and squeeze. And I'm tall, excuse me, in the torso, and if I need to hold the wall for balance, I do it. Because I want to focus on the stretch. Whew, it's very intense. I want to focus on the stretch. I don't want to focus on balance. So we have about 30 seconds here. Keep tucking, keep squeezing, keep actively being here. I am not making this up. This is intense for me. Give me 10 seconds, team. Tuck and squeeze, tuck and squeeze. Let's keep the action of the hips tucking under. Good. Whew. Let's come out of that. I'm going to get some water. We're coming to seated. Okay. Sit nice and tall. Legs are wide. Are we there? Maybe your legs look more like this, or maybe they look even more split. Maybe your legs are a little bit bent like that, and that's the only way you can do it right now, and that's fine. So establish the seated position. I'm feeling a big stretch in my inner thighs. And here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna reach over the head, side to side stretch. So here's another one where we just go at our own pace, side to side stretch. You'll notice my stretching, my bottom arm comes inside my thigh. My bottom arm comes inside my thigh. And my goal is to have my chest reach the ceiling. So another way this could happen, which is what I don't want you to be doing, is instead of an opening here, there's more of something here where we're letting the shoulders round out and we're closed up. So we're trying to stay open in the chest, feeling a good stretch, right? Down the side of the body. And you're doing the best you can. So maybe your legs are bent. I'm sure what you're doing looks different than what I'm doing, and that's wonderful because we have different bodies. Okay, here's what's gonna happen. We're gonna finish up over here. Whew. And now, you guessed it, we're gonna hold. We're gonna hold that side fold. So pick a side, we're doing both. Then we're gonna hold here. That's it. So feeling a stretch here, side of the body. I feel like my voice is quivering. This is difficult. I'm trying to open up my chest to the ceiling. We'll go 15 seconds here. Getting that big time stretch down the side of my body. Trying to relax. All right, team, let's come to seated. Hoo-wee. We go the other way. 30 seconds. Oh, here's something. Make sure your booty stays in contact with the floor. So even though I'm reaching this way, I'm not focused so much on where I'm reaching, right? I want my booty, left booty, right booty, in contact with the floor. Because I care about this stretch. I don't care about if I'm doing this perfectly, right? Let's come up to seated. Or you are doing it perfectly if you are respecting what your body can do. Next up, now we square off shoulders to that foot and a forward fold here. So more of a rotation with a goal of chest reaching forward. I'm feeling this stretch now in the hamstring of my left foot. What? Of my left leg. Breathing. Here's one where we want to focus on a flat back. I can get a lot farther if I just let my back round out, right? But let's have nice posture here and just a chest reach forward and not worry about the perfect pose. Worry more about, am I feeling the stretch? Am I relaxing into the stretch? Let's come to seated. We'll do the same thing on the other side. So again, we rotate upper body, square off, flat back, reaches down. Feeling a stretch in the back of the leg. Noticing how each side is different, respecting that. Maybe you went a little bit farther on the other side and this side not so much, and that's okay. A reminder here that this booty stays down. This one's an easy one to kind of hike the booty up to go a little bit farther, but that's just cheating. We're not here to cheat, we're here to stretch. Breathe. Sink lower if you can, soften. Maybe it's just a mental softening and your body doesn't go any lower. All right, let's come to seated. Whew. Next up, we're gonna hit a little bit of the upper body. So come to standing. We're gonna do big arm circles back here for a minute, 1 minute. As we arm circle, we wanna make sure we're not so dramatic that we arch our back. So we just wanna find that mobility, that stretch in the chest. Mobility and stretch in the chest. And then we're going to take hands behind the head. Here, elbows reach back. And again, it's an easy one to just let go of the core and push your belly out. But let's tuck in, tuck the core in, reach the elbows back, feeling the stretch across the chest. And we're breathing. This is an actively pulling your elbows behind your body. Let's go for 10 more seconds here. Breathe. 3, 2, and 1. Whew. Nice. Okay. That's all the stretches I have for you. A lot of focus on the lower body. That's going to help any back pain you may be feeling or any hip pain when we sit all day. And I know we sit all day, get really tight here, and that affects our whole body. So if we can keep it loose, work on that good posture, do the video a couple times. Thank you so much.